Hello, my name is Unix, and I'm here at my mob trap in my Minecraft evolution world where I go through alpha and beta. And yesterday I watched a video by the YouTuber Mine1001, and I'll put his link in the description, where he changed his mob trap in Minecraft beta to prevent the spawning of spiders, and he did this by putting slabs throughout his spawning pads. And in the video, he found that disabling spider spawning led to over a 50% increase in the overall number of items produced, and for gunpowder, it was almost double. So I wanted to test that in my own mob trap, which starts at a very low Y level, as you can see here, and goes all the way to the sky limit. And it was originally built in Alpha 1.1, where it made the most out of this quirk in the spawning algorithm back then. Regardless, it's still a pretty fast farm, and I'm excited to see how much better it gets if I disable the spider spawning. For my own sanity, I'm going to turn it to peaceful while I show you what the inside of the farm right now looks like and what I'll be changing. I made a whole video about this that you can check out, but essentially, each layer consists of 4 7x7 spawning pads with water on the edges as well as down the middle here that pushes all the mobs towards one of 4 holes that are on each side of the mob farm, where they drop all the way down, and the mobs will either just die from the drop directly, or they will then go into the lava blade that you saw before. According to Mine 1001's video, spiders need a 3x3x1 area of air to be able to spawn. So for example, a spider would be able to spawn right here, since these blocks here are all made of air. Similarly, a spider could spawn right there because these blocks here are also air. However, by placing slabs, you block the ability of spiders to spawn in the blocks surrounding it. So for example, all of these blocks here can no longer spawn spiders since this slab here is in the way. So by placing slabs throughout your spawning pads, you sacrifice a little bit of the spawning spaces, but you remove the ability of spiders to spawn, which means that other mobs in theory will spawn instead. Because my spawning pads are 7x7, it is a little bit awkward to completely kill all spider spawning, as it would require 9 slabs like this. But I feel like this will remove too many spawning pads for my comfort. So instead, for now at least, I'm going to settle for this X design, which will still allow spider spawning here and here on each of these 4 sides. So before, the number of spawning pads for the spiders was 48, and the reason I say 48 instead of 49 is because this spot here could not spawn spiders due to this block, which in hindsight I should have removed. And with the slabs, it will just be 8. So it will be a significant reduction in the amount of spiders that spawn, and hopefully this means other mobs will spawn as well and give me more drops in total, particularly of gunpowder, which is what I'm interested in. So I'm going to make this pattern on all 4 pads here, as well as for every layer, and this is indeed going to require a lot of stone slabs, but I'll be back after that, and I'm going to test the farm then, and compare to the results that I got from before I put these slabs. Let me also show you that I replaced one of the sides of the farm entirely with glass, and then I put a ceiling over it so that it was still dark inside. And this actually allows me to use the fog key to basically kind of peer into the farm even when it's dark. And so let's see, as I turn it to easy, we should see the mobs start spawning. As you can see, there's some spiders there. In theory, after I place these slabs, I should see a lot less of them. All right, I finished putting slabs on every layer. Now I'm going to do some extensive tests and report back. All right, so a lot of AFK time later, here we are. For each design, I AFK'd for 1 hour, and I did that 3 times for each design, so a total of 6 hours went into this test. All the tests were done on easy difficulty and this version. And so first, I'm just going to give you the results directly. As expected, the design with the slabs produced much less string. Given the reduction in the spawning spaces for the spiders, I expected to get about 17% of my initial string output without the slabs, but in actuality, I got 22%. And then for the other mobs, contrary to my initial expectation, I didn't see any increase in the spawn rate, and if anything, there was a slight decrease. So given the reduction in spawning spaces for the non-spider mobs, I expected about a 10% drop in efficiency, but I only observed a 4% drop. So I've got a couple theories for why I did not observe an increase in the mob rates, but Mine 1001 did. My first hypothesis has to do with the way that mobs are spawned. You see, each time that the game goes through a spawn cycle iteration, it loops through every chunk that's around you in a random order. When the algorithm gets to a particular chunk, it will pick a random mob and then try to spawn a pack of that mob at a random location and the surrounding blocks in the chunk. My farm only spans a single chunk, and this was to exploit an old bug that was in Alpha 1.1 that has since been patched. But this means that for the algorithm, once it gets to the chunk that my farm is in, if it happens to pick a spider, due to the lowered spawning spaces, it's most likely going to fail and then just move on to the next chunk and not try to spawn another mob in this chunk here where my farm is at until it's completely done with the spawn cycle iteration. So once it's gone through every chunk. So per spawn cycle iteration, I'm reducing the amount of times that any mob is spawned inside the farm by about 25% is what I'd guess, since there are 4 monsters in total. In contrast, Mine 1001's farm is flat, spanning multiple chunks, and it's only 1 layer tall. This means that when he puts slabs in his farm, if a chunk is chosen and spiders are randomly picked and it fails to spawn a spider due to the slabs, well, it will just move on to the next chunk, which might happen to be also in his farm, and pick another new mob at random, which probably won't be a spider. Therefore, in his farm, the overall mob spawn rate is not going to be affected all that much compared to my farm. So this explains why in his video, he doesn't see a drop in the overall spawn rate when he puts the slabs, but how come he saw an increase? Well, in the video, he briefly mentions that the spiders were clogging up the system.
I was really shocked to discover how much spiders actually clog up the systems.
And if you look at the video, it does seem like there's a water stream that's coming from the farm and then goes to a lava blade that's a little bit far away. And so therefore I imagine that there's a lot of mobs stuck in that waterway, and the existence of spiders might cause 2 problems. The first is that spiders themselves might just take longer to go through the system into the lava blade. This could be because they're 2 by 2, and so they're more likely to get stuck in certain places that other mobs don't. And the other problem is, like the YouTuber said, that the spiders could also be preventing other mobs from getting further into the system than they otherwise would. So in his farm, not only are the spiders slower to get killed, but they might also be making other mobs slower to kill as well. And this is going to have an impact on your overall spawn rate if you are near the mob cap. So if you don't know, the game tries to not have more than 70 hostile creatures at any point in the game if you're in single player, which means that if 70 mobs have already spawned inside your farm but they've not been killed yet, you're basically shutting off the farm from spawning any new mobs until you get them killed. So if your farm is operating near the mob cap, it is in your interest to get the mobs killed as fast as possible. In Mine 1001's video, it seems like he is operating near the mob cap. Therefore, by removing the spiders, he's making it so that all the mobs are faster to kill, and therefore it improves the efficiency of his farm overall. Because my farm has limited horizontal space, the mobs actually get killed pretty quickly. And I believe this is why my farm doesn't seem to be operating near the mob cap. And I know this because I look at the value right after the E on the F3 screen. I believe this value tells me how many entities are in my field of view, and since this number is way below 70 when I'm looking at the farm, it tells me that there's not enough mobs here. I would like to hear from you guys why you think there's a discrepancy in the results that I got versus Mine 1001. I'm thinking of making a video soon talking about the ways that mobs spawn in this version and how to best optimize for it, and so let me know if you have any information related to that that's not easily found online. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this investigation, like the video if you did, and subscribe for more Minecraft alpha and beta videos.